Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. Richard KACHINGWE police post and houses built on a rail reserve earmarked for demolition. UTH baby kidnappers plead not guilty. Persons with disabilities still ignorant on how to form cooperatives. And in international news, water crisis hits Republic of Congo. And in sports, boxers challenged to bring medals ahead of the forthcoming Commonwealth Games. Join me with the details after this commercial. And now the main news in detail. 5 women, among them a judiciary officer, have pleaded not guilty for allegedly stealing a baby at the University Teaching Hospital and selling it for 3,500 kwacha. Precious Nkonika, 28, a judiciary officer, is jointly charged with Nelly Kasalo, Emily Ho, Rebecca Mkandawire and Grace Siska with 1 count of theft of a child, contrary to the laws of Zambia. The accused, who appeared before Lusaka magistrate Crispin Hampangani Thursday morning, denied committing the offense.
Tempers rose at the Lusaka magistrate court Thursday morning when 5 women who are accused of stealing a baby and selling it at 3,500 kwacha made their first appearance. The women, among them an employee of the judiciary and University Teaching Hospital workers, were almost manhandled by members of the victim's family.
What
28-year-old Precious Nkonika, a judiciary officer, Nelly Kasalo, 41, a nutrition demonstrator at UTH, Emily Ho, 37, also a nutrition demonstrator at UTH, Rebecca Mkandawire, 42, maid at UTH, and Grace Siska are charged with 1 count of theft of a child contrary to Section 171A. The accused, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge when they appeared before Magistrate Crispin Hampangani. Allegations are that the accused, on the 7th of May 2022, stole a baby from Elina Lungu. According to a recent statement issued by the police, it is alleged that 2 weeks after Miss Nkonika delivered but unfortunately lost her child, a theft was staged to compensate for her loss. It is alleged that it was at this stage Nkonika was allegedly assisted to steal another baby from the possession of Miss Lungu. However, as the accused were leaving the courtroom, relatives of Miss Lungu showered them with threats and anger. Meanwhile, in response, the accused advised the relatives of the victim to let the court provide the final verdict, alleging that the victim's relatives lacked evidence of the matter. The accused will appear before court on 24th June 2022 for commencement of trial. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
House owners in Lusaka's Libala area whose houses are earmarked for demolition owing to them sitting on land meant for a railway have cried foul, stating that it is unfair for only a few houses to be selected when over 200 properties from Kamwala to Chilenje sit on the same land. In an interview with Camnet News Thursday, the residents have questioned how their houses can be earmarked for demolition when they have valid title deeds from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. The Lusaka City Council Lands Tribunal on Tuesday threw out an appeal from the said citizens and demolition of the houses, including land on which the Richard KACHINGWE police post sits on are due for demolition on grounds of them being illegal.
The pending demolition of some houses, shops, and the police post in Lusaka's Libala township on grounds of illegalities has sparked another hot debate in the country. The Lusaka Province Planning Appeals Tribunal on Tuesday granted the Lusaka City Council permission to demolish about 25 houses, a police post, and some shops that sit on land belonging to the Zambia Railways in the area. An appeal made by affected residents was however thrown out, meaning that the said structures are due for demolition. The affected residents have questioned why only a few houses have been selected, stating that the railway land runs from Kamwala to Chilenje, sitting on about 200 properties, including named churches.
How many buildings are we going to destroy? Because there are churches involved, there are houses involved, and there are shopping malls involved, and shops. People have invested their life savings, and others who retired all their retirement savings. So now how then today people should start fidgeting and looking for where to run to? We can't go anywhere because we have invested all our life savings. And then we want the president, please Mr. President, look into this matter.
Because on same rail line, one side is removed from the Miriam Chani other side, Kamwala. How come we are going to use another rail line? We are going to pass to reach this side because there is no other way to come this side, and we built this one from application. Applicant applied on 2014, and this one was given. That's why we bought from those people, and we built. So for that one, for us, we didn't receive any stop notice from council or enforcement. We don't receive anything.
I mean, it's about to be demolished. I can talk for myself. My house has got a title deed issued by the Ministry of Lands. So how come now today you tell me that that paper, that document is not valid? That is unacceptable. This government was voted into power because we know that these guys, they're academicians, these are people who have gone to school. Unlike what was happening in some other regimes where people just comes and do things in a mediocre way. We expect Gary Nkombo, the president, we trust in you that you can do the correct thing.
They have also raised concerns about security if the Richard KACHINGWE police post, which was officially commissioned by then Lusaka Mayor Mr. Mao Sampa and then Kawata Member of Parliament Mr. Given Luvinda, will be demolished.
Yeah, you see, there's a police post that is helping out, and this is the only police post around this vast area here. If you look around, this police post is helping out a lot. I'm sure that's the reason why they also commissioned the police post, because they knew that the police is just needed in that area. The police is helping areas.
A check by Camnet News found that even part of the Bombay drainage sits on land meant for the railway, raising questions whether these two will be demolished. The affected residents have called for the head of state to intervene in the matter, citing unfairness. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some traders at Libala's Katungu market have bemoaned the erratic water supply in the market for over a week now. Speaking to Camnet News, Samuel Piri says a market with more than 100 traders cannot do without water and poses a threat to the health of the marketeers. Mr. Piri has called on relevant authorities to look into the matter with the urgency it deserves. The traders have since resorted to buying water from residential houses, which is another cost they can't afford.
Water is one of the most important needs for human life, And according to Sustainable Development Goal number 6, that focuses on ensuring that people have access to clean water supply and adequate sanitation, the SDG clearly states that all people must have access to clean water. This includes marketplaces too. But this is not the case for traders at Libala's Katungu market that have not had water for about a week now. In an interview with Camnet News, a trader at the market, Samuel Piri, says the lack of water at the market is making the market unsafe for the traders and their customers.
Then 1 week man's tilibe no market. Elo muziba ino time kunga pezeke korela kulikolona manzi yafunika even kuma restaurants uko wale running ama restaurants hapa wafunika running water olo ma toilets yafunika manzi wakansela waesa kutipushimila kutitingaleko na manzi but up to now tilibe manzi. So still wakapela ni wandani wanga titandize pali issue ya manzi muno market.
Meanwhile, another trader laments how the lack of water at the market has become a thorn in her restaurant business, as her business highly depends on water.
Challenge because most people in the sun manzi. Kama mbale ni manzi, samba kumanja ni manzi, pika ni manzi. But it's a one market. It's a kind of challenge.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
A group representing about 300 persons with disabilities in Lusaka's George compound say they are ignorant on how to form cooperatives as no one has sensitized them on the same. In an interview with Camnet News Thursday, one of the group representatives, Mr. Barrington Seth, says they only hear about the need to form cooperatives on media platforms without having knowledge of how this should be done. They have since called for sensitization, stating that persons with disabilities are more challenged than the rest of the society when it comes to accessing economic activities.
Talk has been ongoing in different sectors of society about the increase in the Constituency Development Fund CDF by the current administration, which saw an increase to 25.7 million kwacha from 1.6 million kwacha in the previous administration. Youths, women, and the general citizenry have since been advised to form cooperatives if to benefit from the fund. The feedback from some sectors of society, like some women-led groups, so far has not been positive, as they have been indicating that the procedure of writing business proposals is complicated and that they have since given up on forming cooperatives due to this. Persons with disabilities, such as this group living in Lusaka's George compound, say they do not even have the slightest idea on how to form a cooperative, as information on the same has not reached them.
Tumvera kuti kunachoka CDF fund. I CDF fund pamene inabwerera twaiona kuti provision yakaena yonesa kuti ni tali. Are you saying the truth, Mr. Our president, Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema, kuti I program inabwerera bantu bovutika? Process yakaena is a organization. Tukaribe kuziba procedure moendera mabwino, mukaribe kupita kutuma bantu botupunzisa motengereza indrama. Fund ya mene munabweresa CDF fund. Usheni abantu bovutika nangu izasalira kwa mene ku State House bamene bazatenga ni bamene bana bama ministers nangu ni bantu bamene bovutika mwachonadi.
Uti batipunziseko. Chifukwa cha kuti kwa metiriri tilibe moyambira ma cooperative mwati mamvera tizimvera cha bepa radio uti banza tuba muminzi bana ma cooperative yosiyana banaenda kubapunzisa bati ife na pantawi zino tikaibe kubaona.
Vuta amene taona kulifa ma disabilities ni yakuti ife tilibe na malo yakuti tingankale tipezeke kuti zisipangako chitukuko muno mu Zambia monga mene tionera banzatu, so ife tilakinga malo yakuti mutitandizire kuba boma amene muona kuti ife tavutika tisakira malo otitandiza anga boma atitandizako atipasako malo ayo malo kuti tizisungapo monga nkuku kusunga nkuku, malayas ya nkuku, maeggs chani, vonse hivyo ndio tifutika kuno. So ise tilipe na empowerment otitandizira.
They have since called for education on the same, stating that they too would like to improve their livelihoods. According to the United Nations, About 2 million people in Zambia have a form of disability, and accessing economic activities for this group of people remains a challenge. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Kabwata Constituency Development Fund CDF Committee has urged the residents to exercise patience in the implementation of constituency development projects. Committee Chairperson Chilekwa Mkonge has told Camnet News that the guidelines are cumbersome, but that the leadership is doing everything possible to expedite the process so that people can see the benefits. He says they received a total of 551 submissions of skills development, bursary application, and 66 secondary school boarding bursary applications from all the 5 wards of Kabwata constituency. He says the applications were then scrutinized and submitted to the CDF committee at Lusaka City Council, adding that they then reconvened for the validation of the consolidated data for the onward submission to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development.
But one thing they should bear in mind is that we are doing everything possible with the Honorable MP Andrew Tayengwa. So far what we have done is that we have received the bursary forms and the skills forms, and we have already scrutinized them. And what now the council is doing, just to create a database for those, then immediately finish. I'm sure by Tuesday we are going to reconvene again so that now we can see how far they have gone, and after that then we shall meet it to local government and rural development. Then let me also take this opportunity that people must be patient, because the process is just too cumbersome, it's too long, whereby I'm sure even the Minister of Finance, he mentioned that they are looking into these procedures because they are just too long. Then for 2021 projects, next week we are going to review this project for 2021. However, we are intending also even to do the site visits, so that this project we can see them physically, if these projects are there or not. As we are very much aware that the last regime, there were some projects which a lot of people have abandoned. So it could be one of those projects which they have abandoned. So we want to see if there is any activity, or if there is no activity, then some of the projects will be cancelled if they have abandoned them.
Commuters' Rights Association of Zambia representative Aaron Kamuti has observed that the monthly review of bus fares is not sustainable and does not favor commuters in the country. Mr. Kamuti also says the monthly review is not conducive for both bus operations, thus proposing a quarterly review regardless of the changes in the fuel pump price. He has told Camnet News in an interview that following a minimal price adjustment, the petrol price in June 2022, it was difficult for stakeholders to review the price upwards. Tuesday, 31st May 2022, the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, adjusted upwards fuel pump price by 0.8 ngwe per litre for petrol, while diesel and kerosene remained unchanged effective midnight of the 31st of May 2022.
Petrol went to about 8 ngwe upwards. Now for us to increase by that percentage, it was very difficult. So the status quo at now is that the bus fares are still the same. We haven't changed anything and nothing has changed. So we're still stuck to the same old bus fares. Now going forward, we are suggesting that maybe we should introduce a method of which as stakeholders in the transport sector we want to put up, where maybe here they can continue doing what they are doing, the monthly reviewing, and for us we feel that this is not helping us, so we want to make it, maybe they can do it 3 times or 6 times. That's when you call for a consultative meeting to see to it that maybe we can have a reason or somewhere where we can meet around the table and discuss how we can figure out the bus fares in future. But as for now, we really, it's very difficult for us to be talking about the increment or reduction in the bus fares. So the status quo is still the same. Our appeal to the passengers, to the operators, is to stay calm. We are not sitting idle. we are doing our best to see to it that we work out the best for both of us, the operators, and us, the commuters.
The Private Security Companies Association of Zambia President Francis Mukuka has challenged the government to create a conducive environment for security companies amid calls that they should adhere to the prescribed minimum wage. Mr. Mukuka, who welcomed the move, is however concerned that the government has not taken the time to understand the challenges security companies are facing in order to meet workers' salaries. He says the government must help small and medium companies through tax incentives and access to businesses for them to be viable and satisfy the workers' demands. According to the revised minimum wage, security guards must not be paid below 1,698 kwacha KACHINGWE. However, most companies still pay workers below 1,000 kwacha.
Zambia has a government-mandated minimum wage, and no worker in Zambia can be paid less than this mandatory minimum rate of pay. Employers who fail to pay the minimum wage may be subject to punishment. However, enforcement of this law has been poor, much to the dissatisfaction of the workers. Notably, security guards are among the lowest paid, and most of them earn below the minimum wage, pegged at 1,698 kwacha KACHINGWE. While the cost of living for a family of 5 living in Lusaka is over 9,000 kwacha, others still get less than 1,000 kwacha.
Lunch, and you can't even support your family as in property. So maybe the government can also come with a policy of somehow assisting us as well as they are doing to our fellow colleagues. Yes, maybe they can look into our union, our salaries, so that at least, because we are getting 900 kwacha, 800, even some of our colleagues are even getting as low as 700 kwacha.
And recently, the Minister of Labour and Social Security reminded the security companies in the country to adhere to the prescribed minimum wage. And Private Security Companies Association of Zambia President Francis Mukuka, who has welcomed the move, is however concerned that the government has not taken time to understand the challenges security companies are facing in order to meet the workers' salaries.
Yes, we welcome that statement because we know it's a welfare of our security guards. But what is it that the government is doing to promote and make sure that these security companies also make a reasonable profit of which they can meet this minimum wage? Because if they are just looking at one side, then it's very unfair for the security companies. Hence, you have been requesting the officials from the Ministry of Labour to say they should consider whenever they are trying to bring this kind of issues, most especially the minimum wage.
He adds that the government must take deliberate measures to help small and medium companies in the sector through tax incentives and help them access business for them to be viable and satisfy the workers' needs.
Because we understand the problems the security guards are facing, the problem the companies are also facing. They should not look at one side. They should look at the companies also. And in actual sense, let the government also appreciate the private sector, because you can't create employment without private sector. So this is what we are calling the Ministry of Labour, that they should give us an audience. We talk to them, we bring issues that security companies are facing in this industry.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
In other news, Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services Executive Director McDonough Jipenzi says the continued lack of a board at the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, is compromising financial investigations in the country. In an interview, Mr. Jipenzi notes that the FIC is a critical component in fighting financial irregularities in the country. Hence, the appointing of a new board at the institution should have been one of the priorities of the current administration. He notes that if this is not done soon, the country may lag behind in key investigations concerning financial crimes.
It is important to prioritize the institutional setup of that institution, because the current arrangement now compromises the fight against the financial and economic crimes, and also makes the institutions a missing link in the joint investigative wing, or indeed a setup. As the current acting director general, there are certain decisions that she cannot make because she's not the substantive director. So in the spirit that you don't need ratification by Parliament of this board, including the Director General, it is important now that the President moves very fast to appoint a board, and then the board quickly appoints the Director General. I think we need that, otherwise this delay is unnecessary, and this delay really undermines this fight. We want all the wheels, all the pistons in the fight against corruption, in the fight against financial and economic crimes to be firing. Otherwise, the Financial Intelligence Center, as it is now, is the piston that is not firing, and the vehicle cannot move as it is expected to move.
Zambezi District Health Director Dr. Ngandalo Chimuka has implored government to consider constructing a new district hospital in Northwestern Province. Dr. Chimuka has said the existing Zambezi District Hospital, which was built over 60 years ago, has outlived its usefulness in view of the growing population, which stands at over 110,000 people. The District Health Director was speaking when Technology and Science Minister Felix Mtati visited the area to commission a new post office, but took advantage of touring the health facility. And Zambezi District Commissioner was quick to note that Mr. Mtati was the first cabinet minister to visit the area from the UPND administration, and asked him to lobby the health minister to attend to the plight of the area. Meanwhile, Mr. Mtati assured them both that he would convey the plea to Health Minister Silva Masebo before the dilapidated health facility becomes an extreme public safety threat. Zambia Export Development Funds have charged that few entrepreneurs have expressed interest in accessing resources to export their products. In an interview with Camnet News, Fund Manager Dr. David Chewe has attributed this to lack of capacity building among potential beneficiaries who in turn failed to break through the international market. He explains that ZEDF has only been mandated by the government to finance working capital of up to 200,000 million United States dollars for businesses that are ready to export, but that entrepreneurs have to find their own capacity capital.
Most small and medium enterprises in Zambia have failed to penetrate the outside market owing to a number of factors, among them not meeting standards for exports. To help mitigate the challenge, Zambia Export Development Fund under the Zambia Development Agency was established by the government to mobilize and provide low-cost financing to non-traditional exporters through a viable and sustainable revolving fund. However, the uptake of the funds have been low owing to the fact that there are few businesses in Zambia that have reached the level to export their produce to other countries. Zambia Export Development Fund manager Dr. David Chewe in an interview has told Camnet News that his institution receives application of about 40 every quarter, but that only about 3 businesses reach the financing stage.
We established that on average we get around 40 inquiries. And out of those 40 inquiries, maybe 7 would submit their applications formally. And we go through the process. Maybe out of those 7, maybe 3 get through the process where we now submit for approval, and maybe only 1 of those gets funded. So we do have a very slow sort of uptake.
And when asked why this has been the case, Dr. Chewe highlighted a number of challenges that small and medium enterprise face that has been limiting their capacity to reach the outside market. Among them is the fact that businesses find it difficult to access capacity building financing from financial institutions such as banks to grow their businesses for the export market.
At ZF, we provide working capital. And the maximum is, we used to be $100,000. and the maximum has since been increased, but that 100,000 may not be sufficient for the entrepreneur to cover their requirements. The other side I talked about is financing. If they need machinery, we don't provide funding for machinery, and therefore that impacts on the entrepreneur's ability to actually increase the scale. And because they can't increase the scale, they can't exploit the market.
Friday, 27th May 2022, Commerce Minister Chipoka Mulenga admitted that financial institutions such as banks have been making it difficult for businesses in Zambia to access financing for their businesses, and says government is trying to engage the financial institution to see how they can help businesses in the country.
But the biggest challenge that Zambian business community has faced is the quality. Every time Europe is telling us, good, your maize is good, your avocados are good, your mangoes are good, but the quality is not good. They've been making these excuses, and we've been getting frustrated as a community. Why are they saying our products are bad? But they come here and eat it, but they just want to bring their food here.
Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
We take risks every day, with some big things and some little things. Other risks are out of our control. But no matter what's important in your life, Savenda Insurance has got you covered. Whether it's for your home, vehicle, investments, or the people you love, you shouldn't have to worry about securing the future. Let us handle that. Since 2014, we have helped Zambians protect their health and personal property, offering peace of mind and fostering progress and development. Taking risks is what makes us grow. Insurance is what keeps us going strong.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the country.
There's so much data.
Mom? Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the news. Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Honorable Collins Nzovu, has assured that the Zambian government is geared to attract both domestic and international investors to financial, climate and environment-related projects. Mr. Nzovu says this is in a bid to enhance adoption and mitigation, control pollution and curb biodiversity loss. The minister said this in Stockholm, Sweden, at the event organized by the World Bank Group, WBG, and the Swedish International Development Agency, SIDA, at the sideline of the ongoing Stockholm Plus 50 Summit. Stockholm Plus 50 is an international meeting that has been convened by the United Nations General Assembly in Stockholm, Sweden from 2nd to 3rd June 2022. The high-level summit commemorates 50 years since the 1972 United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, which made the environment a pressing global issue for the first time. In a presentation made during the said event, Mr. Nzovu says the priority sector of the government, which include low-carbon transport, renewable energy, hydropower in the northern part of the country, bioenergy, geothermal, forestry infrastructure, and ecotourism, among others. The Department of Immigration has detained 41 undocumented Ethiopians in Luangwa. Immigration Public Relations Officer Nshinka Namati says the detained are all being apprehended in Amoro village, 15 kilometers from Luangwa, Boma. He has further said that the Immigration Department in Pika on the 1st of June 2022 also apprehended a 52-year-old Tanzanian truck driver Joseph Frank Makebe for suspected smuggling of 66 undocumented Ethiopians. Lastly, the immigration officer will continue to carry out these cleanup operations in all parts of the country.
In Luangwa has apprehended 41 undocumented Ethiopian nationals in a suspected case of human smuggling. The officers apprehended the first group of 33 on 30th May 2022 and another group of 8 on 1st June 2022. They were all apprehended in Amoro village, 15 kilometers from Luangwa, Boma, in an ongoing operation by the security wings in the district. The East Africans are currently detained at the Luangwa police station and will soon be transferred to Lusaka for further formalities. Similarly, the Department of Immigration in Mpika on 1st June 2022 apprehended a 52-year-old Tanzanian truck driver Joseph Frank Mukene in another suspected case of human smuggling involving 6 undocumented Ethiopian nationals. The officers discovered the 6 Ethiopians inside a modified storage space on the chassis of a Lusaka-bound haulway truck registration number T426DXY and trailer registration number T319DYD. The suspects are detained at Mpika Correctional Facility pending further investigations and possible prosecution.
A man suspected to be in his early 30s has been found dead in the early hours of Wednesday in Lusaka's Mutandabantu area, who is said to have died in mysterious circumstances. Speaking to Camnet TV, Ethel Mubala, a resident in the area, narrates to Camnet News that the residents are still in shock in a manner in which the said man has died. Others say they suspect the man met his fate in an attempt to steal some of the working equipment of a house he was helping to construct, as they are stored in the same room he was found dead in.
A young man of Lusaka's Mutandabantu area in Kanyama compound has been found dead in the early hours of Thursday by some residents in unclear circumstances. A check by Camnet TV found some residents in a state of confusion as they do not understand what could have transpired to lead to the death of this man, adding that it is not certain if the man committed suicide or if he was murdered. One of the people who witnessed this incident, Ethel Luboba, explained to this reporter that the lifeless body of this man was found hanging on top of a door of a small storage room where most of his working equipments are kept for a house he was helping a friend to construct.
Nemwana apitira na tutayachemba okuseri na bagamba tuona masapa twali pansa hapa bachochi basi masapa tukula na magona manyama ata mu next room so muja mu next nzapelekane mne wake na joy wapeleke na bomba basia so na bebe mtima wa chapa hapa banini zaimilira hapa huyu mtima wa chapa iwe ndota ni tani hati muntu amkeke kambani vanze namwana aimilia taimia na muntu namata tabia ngera mchani nyumba. So jamnyamata stinga kamba tense kawarara because it's kusebenza by project amemuona hiyo. Nyezo pika nsima tengatani.
The residents say the body had no injuries, neither did it leave any trails of blood to suspect any foul play, thus making it difficult for them to determine what exactly had transpired.
So nezofuna kuti ni ode sina ode no ode. Ndiye mwamene namba kutamangira kuboropeza nishini muntu ali hapa. So sinisi wabwino ni bantu vampaya ni olwazikingene samoeka but kuli bena blood yamene yaonekera.
However, other residents suspect that the young man met his fate in an attempt to steal some of the working equipment which was stored in the same room he was found dead.
So ujamuntu emu yake nona mngaza potenga chakatundu limunza kaira siwa wetha ene westinga chakatundu utiwanga kwanza kulaina kwanza kuina ujamuntu kupela vina vatika kameza pokupa.
Meanwhile, efforts to get an update from police spokesperson Ray Hamonga concerning the same matter proved futile before broadcast time. Mercy Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
We take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We take risks every day, with some big things and some little things. Other risks are out of our control. But no matter what's important in your life, Savenda Insurance has got you covered. Whether it's for your home, vehicle, investments, or the people you love, you shouldn't have to worry about securing the future. Let us handle that. Since 2014, we have helped Zambians protect their health and personal property, offering peace of mind and fostering progress and development. Taking risks is what makes us grow. Insurance is what keeps us going strong.
Thank you for staying with us. We now get into our international item. Every morning, locals in the coastal town of Pointe-Noire in the Republic of Congo must go to the nearest water source located nearly a kilometer away. The water crisis has impacted lives there, as many locals have to wake up daily as early as 4 a.m. to avoid congestion at various water points. In other news, at least 11 people have been killed with another 33 missing in floodings and mudslides caused by a Hurricane Agatha in southern Mexico, the governor of the southern state of Oaxaca has said. The hurricane came ashore on Monday, making it the most powerful storm on record to make landfall in May during the Pacific hurricane season. The Category 2 hurricane weakened as it passed over land, officials said. Here's a roundup of international news.
Every morning, this mother in this coastal town of Pointe-Noire in the Republic of Congo must go to the nearest water source located nearly a kilometer away. Water crisis has impacted her lives just like many others who have to wake up daily as early as 4 a.m. to avoid congestion at various water points. To get water, you have to wake up at 4 a.m. and you have to fight to get it. So we suffer a lot. When you come at 7 a.m., you can't get water. Like her, several hundred of men, women and children do not have access to drinking water from the tap. The city, which turned 100 years old this year, has experienced strong urban growth in recent decades, but without addressing water distribution. Since then, some have opted to build private boreholes. Now it's been 7 months without water from the taps. You can confirm by yourself. I had 3 pumps for my household in the same plot, but we had to change. That is why I decided to drill this well. When you want to build such facilities, you have to take into account the environmental standards of the WHO, which requires that there be criteria, for example, on pH levels, to ensure that the water that will be used is good for consumption. Here, just like in several other regions of the country, water production is estimated at 64,800 cubic meters per day, while the water requirement remains at 110,000 cubic meters per day, leaving a deficit of about 45,200 cubic meters per day. The authorities estimate that about $1.5 billion will be needed to overcome this water shortage because although the country has sufficient freshwater resources, the infrastructure to distribute it still remains the main issue.
Cédric Solo, Pointe-Noire, Africa News.
Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari was welcomed Wednesday by the Spanish Prime Minister in Madrid. Pedro Sanchez had invited the Nigerian leader for the state visit. Ademola Seriki, the Nigerian ambassador to Spain, celebrated the moment, which is the first visit to Spain by a Nigerian head of state in 17 years. The Spanish head of government called Nigeria a strategic partner essential for stability and economic growth in Western Africa. During the day, both leaders held a meeting, followed by the signing of agreements and memorandums of understanding geared towards further enhancing the bilateral relations. The two nations committed to increasing cooperation in areas such as mutual legal assistance, energy and the fight against crime and terrorism. Buhari was accompanied by an 11-man delegation, and he also met with Spanish King Felipe VI. Nigeria's president will be the special guest at an investment forum organized by the Spanish Chamber of Commerce, the Ministry of Trade and the Confederation of Employers, where he will address Spanish and Nigerian business owners. He will speak of the investment opportunities in Africa's top economy and ways of expanding the volume of trade. Buhari is expected back in Nigeria on June 3rd.
Floodwaters have begun to recede on the coast of Oaxaca in southern Mexico. Residents, however, are still reeling from the impact of Hurricane Agatha.
I have nothing left, nothing to eat. Now I'm going to see what I can find, but nobody has anything left.
Agatha was a powerful Category 2 hurricane when it made landfall late Monday evening. And authorities say the death toll is likely to rise while the search for those missing continues.
Based on the reports we've received, we've made the decision to provide services to the most affected areas, most importantly the coast of Oaxaca.
The challenges faced by those emergency teams are daunting. Heavy rainfall from Agatha caused widespread flooding and mudslides. State and federal authorities say efforts remain underway to clear roads and provide desperately needed aid to thousands of people affected.
Well, all our water is dirty and we don't have anything to drink. But we're waiting for support. We need at least water, food, or whatever they can give us because you lost everything here. We don't have anything. The clothes and dishes are wet. Everything was lost.
Though Hurricane Agatha has mostly dissipated over the mountains of southern Mexico, weather forecasters warn the remaining thunderstorms could regroup into a tropical depression or even a tropical storm. If so, Agatha's name would change to Alex, becoming the first named storm of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, potentially bringing heavy rain and wind to the U.S. state of Florida by the end of the week. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera.
We now get into your sports news. Government has challenged the Boxing Association of Zambia to bring medals in the forthcoming Commonwealth Games. Minister of Sports Elvis Nkandu said this will end the dry spell of not winning in the last 26 years. Mr. Nkandu notes that Zambia's last medal from the Commonwealth Games came through Samuel Matete in 1994. Meanwhile, the Minister of Sports also talked about the match between the Copper Bullets and Ivory Coast in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier.
The last time Zambia won a medal in the Commonwealth Games was 26 years ago through Samuel Matete, who is by profession a 400 meters athlete. Since then, there's been a dry spell in winning any medal in the Commonwealth Games. However, the government is optimistic that Zambia will win medals in the forthcoming Commonwealth Games that are scheduled to commence on the 28th of July to 8th of August 2022. Speaking to the media, Zambia's Minister of Youth, Sport and Art, Elvis Nkandu, implored athletes adequately represent the country.
They are there, and the management is also there. I don't expect a team to give us negative results. That's the more reason why I'm commending the president on behalf of who is standing in for the executive committee, that for you to be giving us positive results, it means you have a very good leadership. You have a good leadership. The only thing we need to do, obviously resources will never be enough. We'll continue to assist you, mobilize resources, so that these two can now give us, or can give us what? Positive results in terms of the gold medals that we are looking for.
Nkandu said this while he's welcoming the boxers that took part in the just ended 8 Nations boxing tournament that was held in Tanzania.
That we are going to give equitable resources to every sporting discipline, because we believe that for us to run away or get away from the tag of being the minister of football, we have no option but to make sure that we give you a fair share. Every sporting discipline is given a fair share. And I want now to say that, because there are people that may say they have given football for 1 million party. They are giving, for instance, boxing to the boxing only 2 million party. You know, what you present to us is what we give you.
Speaking at the same event, one of the boxers, Margaret Tembo, assured dedicated representation.
I would like to say that we'll go out there and deliver for our nation. The flow means to go and deliver, and we did that. And I would like to say thank you again to the minister for inviting us, and we'll go out there and deliver so that he can give us many strokes to go to the Commonwealth Games and deliver.
Zambia won 10 medals in the 8 Nations Tanzania boxing tournament.
May I expect a positive result? It would be a win. For me, it could be a win, it could be a draw. What we need to avoid is a loss. But you know, we should not take things for granted that we are playing Ivory Coast in their backyard. So obviously, the game will be very tough. That we should expect. But you know, as fans, what we are looking for is a positive result, especially a win. Because I believe that we have a team that can win, that can conquer any team in Africa. We have that team. And I want also to break this news, that even the issue of Mavica that we are talking about, I'm sure by the end of today that issue would have been resolved. So we have done everything as government to make sure that everything is done. What we are asked, everything has been done. So don't be surprised if you see Mavica in the team, or if you see Mavica playing Comoros, don't be surprised. If you see Mavica in Ivory Coast, don't be surprised.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Still in sports, Ukrainians have been severely impacted by Russia's invasion. But with a shot to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in their upcoming game against Wales is giving many a break from the war. Here's a roundup of international sports news.
Kyiv's Olympic Stadium would normally have hosted club games and team training sessions, events open to everyone. But the potential target for Russian missiles has been closed since the invasion. The war in Ukraine has many faces. It is true, there is no let-up to the wholesale destruction and devastation in the east of the country. And across Ukraine, the threat of missiles and airstrikes hangs over every city. But even though it can feel jarring, Ukrainians describe life in places such as Kyiv as returning to almost normal. Businesses are reopening, people are back on the streets, no more roadblocks and checkpoints. If it wasn't for the near daily air raid warning sirens, you could be forgiven for forgetting about the war. Ukraine's World Cup qualifier with Scotland being played in Glasgow. For many here in Kyiv, a chance to do just that.
Well, I think it makes the country positive, and it takes their mind off what's happening, and you need positivity during a war. Because I've been helping Ukraine for the last 2 months, the innocent civilians. When in Rome, do what the Romans do. I'm in Ukraine, so I support Ukraine.
Game night for Ukrainians, who for months have been cheering on their heroes on the battlefield. A chance to cheer for heroes on the football field.
Right now, there are not so many people because of the war. A lot of people are absent, and normally we would have had a lot of people because this is a big event.
It is important to feel at least some pieces of real life, that life is still here, not just war.
A reprieve from fighting, a reminder of what peacetime is like. But the war is still on, and this country is still under martial law. That means there is a nighttime curfew.
It's almost 11 p.m. and because of the curfew, bars and restaurants are going to be closing now, and the TVs are going to be turned off right around halftime. Ukraine supporters must go home, and they can't stay here.
Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Richard KACHINGWE police post and houses built on a rail reserve earmarked for demolition. UTH baby kidnappers plead not guilty. Persons with disabilities still ignorant on how to form cooperatives. And in international news, water crisis hits Republic of Congo. And in sports, boxers challenged to bring medals ahead of the forthcoming Commonwealth Games. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Luke 6, verse 35 to 36, and it reads, "But love your enemies, do what is good, and lend expecting nothing in return. Then your rewards will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is gracious to the ungrateful and evil. Be merciful just as your Father also is merciful." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good evening.